Enter a world in the middle of the industrial age that did war so hard that it completely janked up the planet into a barren wasteland. From the ashes of that planet-janking war, 6 factions emerged who all shared one dream: to take to the sky in fantastical blimp boats in order to do even more war. While it might seem silly to strap yourself to balloons and fire at each other with guns, this premise results in a surprisingly exciting and mechanically deep online multiplayer game that only has one major glaring problem. It's completely dead. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and welcome to Random Game Reviews. I put every game in the PlayStation Store into a spreadsheet and use a random number generator to determine what game I'm going to play and review. This Christmas, Fate has decided that I will review Guns of Icarus Alliance. Guns of Icarus Alliance is an online cooperative airship piloting / gunning / smacking stuff with a wrench game that pits you and your crew against an array of aerial adversaries. To prepare for a life-waging sky war, you'll need to familiarize yourself with the 3 jobs on an airship. The pilot steers the ship, obviously. But airships don't handle like vessels in other games. Turning works like normal, but forward and back adjusts your altitude, not your travel speed. The speed is adjusted by using the buttons that increase or decrease the throttle, and further break down into forward speed and reverse speed. Your job as the pilot is to avoid enemy fire and orient your gunners so they can shoot holes and stuff. Piloting in Guns of Icarus is interesting because it's less like driving a car than it is like controlling a whale while it completes a delicate whale ballet. The gunner, guns. This is probably the easiest job since it's all about shooting bullets into enemy targets, many of which are the size of a house. However, based on where your ship is aiming, you will need to be willing to jump between the guns on the front of your ship and those on the side. And no, I will not be using any of the correct nautical terms to describe the sides of a ship. You can switch between ammo types or jump off your gun to help with repairs, which is generally the domain of the engineer, the most important but least desirable job on the ship. Imagine playing a crew-based ship game and being told you can either fly the ship, blow stuff up, or swab the deck and then make everybody lunch. That's kind of what it feels like to play as the engineer. Everything on your ship is breaking and being on fire almost constantly, and it's the engineer's job to rush about frantically and provide your vital ship components temporary reprieve from their broken, flaming existences. You can put out fires with your handy extinguisher and fix broken components by just hitting them really hard with your wrench or mallet until they're fixed. I'm not sure what it is about smacking something with a mallet that fixes holes in your balloon, but I do know that if you're not constantly wailing on your hull to repair your shields, your ship will explode. This fact, combined with your abilities to jump on as a backup gunner and mark enemies for your shipmates in your free time, makes the engineer, unfortunately, the most integral job on your airship. All 3 roles need to work in tandem to make it through the scenarios in co-op mode, which is the defining mode of Guns of Icarus Alliance. This game is a follow-up to the PvP-focused Guns of Icarus Online, and Alliance does have a PvP mode, but the developers really threw all of their weight into creating a cooperative, crew-based experience rather than a competitive one. Together with your team, you can tackle various game modes that pit you against vicious NPC combatants to complete different tasks that mainly involve destroying or protecting objectives, all while being constantly assailed by blimps and planes. As you level up, you will unlock abilities that make you or your ship better, character customization options, upgrades to your ship's loadout, and currency for a war game mode in which the factions vie for control over a world map by allocating earned resources to specific battlefronts. However, the cool factor of this war minigame, and much of the rest of the game, is undercut by the fact that nobody is playing it. There are so few people on the server that you will spend a lot more time waiting in a lobby for a game to fill up than you will actually playing the game. You can strike out on your own with NPC crewmates who silently and efficiently go about their tasks, but it's honestly not that much fun. Since Guns of Icarus Alliance is clearly meant to be played with living, breathing people, I set about convincing 3 friends to fork out $7 and we were on our way. Fun fact, we were 2/3 of all players on the server at the time. Playing this game with your friends in voice chat is a whole other experience. From picking your roles, to the ability to quickly communicate problems and strategies, to calling out the location of enemies, playing with people on voice chat turns a mediocre experience into an exciting one. The degree to which my friends and I needed to cooperate and communicate led to one of the most fun nights of gaming I've had in a while. Everything that was tedious when I was playing by myself suddenly became exciting. Seeing a large enemy ship unexpectedly emerge from behind a mountain, telling the gunners to shoot down the approaching bombers, getting an enemy base down to a fraction of its health just as our own shields were deteriorating. These were all thrilling experiences because suddenly there were stakes. You don't want to let your team down. And we were awesome. While we were playing on casual. Shifting up to normal difficulty was a slightly different story. But instead of getting aggravated with the additional challenge, barely scraping by on a higher difficulty required more collaboration and in turn made the game even more fun. It's clear that even though there doesn't seem to be a huge variety of actions to take in this game, Guns of Icarus Alliance has a pretty high skill floor, and we were mostly stumbling around like a bunch of goobers who don't even know how to activate special abilities. And it turns out you could add even more goobers to the team. You can create a team of up to 3 ships, so that means up to 12 people can try to complete objectives together. So if enough of my subscribers want to form a flying death squadron, I want you to know that I would be into it. I had a blast piloting, gunning, and messing around on a big skyboat with my buddies, and that made me kinda sad that this is a dead game. Being assigned this game by the RNG was like stumbling upon a once great civilization that had fallen into ruin. It got me to wondering why the developers haven't tried to resuscitate the game by making it free to play. I'm sure if there were enough players, a few of them would dump money on wacky cosmetic items. Now, I'm not suggesting that Guns of Icarus is without faults. For one thing, the game is very brown. Just so brown. Brown everywhere. I get that it's supposed to be a post-apocalypse or whatever, but a pop of color wouldn't kill anybody. The graphics are pretty dated by today's standards. Nobody wants to be the engineer except my buddy Sean, and it's hard to determine when your ship is in the effective firing range of your target. There's apparently a very precise line between your bullets tearing a ship apart and firing pointlessly into the void. But despite any shortcomings, I've never played a game quite like it, and I had a blast playing it with my friends. It's hard to tell if it's the game itself or the camaraderie of my old gaming crew that made it such a good experience, but I suppose that doesn't matter. It may be a really brown, somewhat janky, very dead game, but me and my crew have been texting each other to figure out a time when we can go wage war in our skyboat. It's time to answer the question, would I play this game if I wasn't destined to do so? For Guns of Icarus Alliance, the answer is yes, but. This game has a really solid and unique premise that I really enjoyed. However, it lacks a lot of polish that we expect from modern games. And while fun to play, it is undeniably a dead game. If you don't have people to play with, I don't recommend it. But if you have at your disposal a ragtag crew of dopey but lovable rogues, then it's a low-cost, high-reward experience. That does it for this episode. In 1 week, I'll be doing a random draw from your requests for which game you want to see me review in episode 10. Leave a comment on this video to tell me what game from the PlayStation Store you want to see me review. If you already commented on my Mechazoo video, the comment on this video will get you an additional entry. You have until the end of 2021 to get your requests in. And because I'm all jacked up on Christmas spirit, I want to say thanks to you, my kind and awesome viewers, for helping make this project so fun for me to do. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and see you next time on Random Game Reviews.